I'll start the recording. All right. So again, a very warm welcome to this introductory session on BW4HANA 2.0. In this session, we are going to look at my profile. Of course, you have to know whom you are dealing with. So I'll give you a quick introduction of my profile. And then we will also go into the BW4HANA concepts and frequently asked questions. So we'll try to answer them because there have been a lot of fuzz around so many tools from SAP, how BW4HANA is positioned in the market, what is the future. So we'll look into that. Then I'll quickly show you the system demo, meaning I'll give you a walkthrough of the system we will be using, the tools we will be using, and the modus operandi I follow basically for my trainings, which is completely hands-on. Okay, so I don't believe in just theory. This is a complete hands-on training, and then we will see the actual course structure and the details of on what day, what are we going to cover, and how many weeks it's going to be, so on and so forth. And at the end, maybe 15 minutes at the end, I'll open the forum for questions and answers, where you guys can ask as many questions as you want. We'll try to answer as many as possible, and then we will end the session there. The recording will be available on YouTube. I will be sharing that. So don't worry, even if you want to refer to that later on, or if you want to share it to with somebody else, it will be available. All right, so I will request you to put yourself on mute, guys, because I want a clear recording. There should not be any background feedback or noise. So anyways, I will have questions and answers, so don't worry. At that time, you can unmute and ask your questions. All right, let's get started. BW4HANA 2.0. So BW4HANA 2.0 is basically the next generation data warehousing tool from SAP. Now, there have been other tools as well in the market, meaning data warehouse cloud is gaining traction. Then we have the native HANA based SQL data warehousing. That is also another alternative. So we will see how BW4HANA is positioned as the on-premise next generation and the future tool for data warehousing from SAP, right? Okay, so first things first, let me tell you a little bit about myself. So my name is Devanshu Mukherjee, as you all know. I have around 14 plus years of total experience. Now it's 15, I have to update the slide, all right? So I have around 8 end-to-end implementation experiences, which spans across SAP Native HANA, BW4HANA, BW on HANA previously, SAP ABAP for 10 years. I've been doing that. Of course, ABAP is an integral part of any BW journey. So that is there. And then recently, I have also had experience in SAC, which is around 1.5 years of experience, where we just completed my second implementation. I just completed that. And also, I have BPC embedded, which is BWIP, around 4 or 5 years of experience there. So this is my overall profile. You can find me on LinkedIn. So many people are connected. If not, then you can send me a request and we will get connected over the LinkedIn. And I also have a YouTube channel where I keep posting new videos every week or couple of weeks. It's called BW4HANA Tidbits. That's the playlist where I keep releasing free videos. Yesterday itself, I released a video on inventory management in BW4HANA, how it works, how inventory has changed, what are the record types, and what are the different concepts which have changed in BW4HANA. So you can subscribe to the channel. You will get frequent videos over there. And then I also have a playlist dedicated to advanced DSO. So whenever there's a topic which is a big one, and I have to divide it into parts, I create a separate playlist. So advanced DSO is there as one of the separate playlists. So this is how you can connect with me. This is a little bit about myself. And then I also, keep doing training badges. This is my second batch for the training. We completed first batch a couple of weeks ago. And now this is the second batch, which is starting on 1st of August. All right. Now let's look into some BW4HANA concepts and frequently asked questions. So first question, and the very basic question, is what is BW4HANA? So BW4HANA is SAP's data warehousing solution for on-premise clouds. That's an important point. It's not a cloud-based system. It is not positioned for the cloud, complete cloud, but it is positioned to be your on-premise data warehousing solution from SAP. The latest version is 2.0 SP5, I think, 5 or 6. Okay. And then the journey actually began in 2012 when HANA was introduced. BW was there from, I think, 1998. Yeah, there you go. So I will tell you the entire journey, but let's first focus on the HANA-based journey for BW. So it all started in 2012, where HANA was made generally available, meaning HANA was launched in the market as SAP's own database. SAP till 2011 June did not have the database of its own. It used to use different vendors like Oracle or SQL Server or IBM DB2, etc. But 2011, they decided, okay, we are going to launch our own database and all our products are going to sit on top of that database. And that database was born in 2011 June, generally made available, and it was called HANA. Okay. It went through different naming conventions. Initially, it was called Haso's new architecture. Then it was called high performance analytic appliance. But right now, it has no full form. SAP is saying it's just HANA. It's their girl, and that girl is becoming stronger every year. So it has no full form anymore. So this is how the journey began. So 2012, they launched 7.3 BW powered by HANA. One more thing, guys. When I say powered by HANA or I say on HANA, it's the same thing. Don't get confused. If somebody says BW on HANA and somebody says BW powered by HANA, they are talking about the same thing. So BW 7.3 powered by HANA was introduced in 2012, where the main intention was performance optimization, because now SAP HANA database can do a lot of things which the application server was doing prior to SAP HANA. So there were a lot of buzz in the market, and HANA was really accepted as the BW's database, and the migration projects started implementing, and it became popular. Then they launched 7.4 version, which is the next version, powered by HANA again, or you can say 7.4 on HANA, where simplification and virtualization was the main focus. When I say simplification, meaning consolidation of all the info providers. So BW is a data warehouse, basically, right? So data warehouse had a lot of objects where you can store data or you can virtually access the data. So SAP started consolidating all those objects, virtual objects and persistent objects, into fewer and fewer objects. That was the main focus there. Then we had 7.5 powered by HANA, or you can say on HANA, where again simplification was again the focus. Platform integration, meaning more and more tasks was pushed down into SAP HANA database, and then big data scenarios or big data integration also came into picture. Then came BW4HANA. So BW4HANA is a completely new product, guys. It's not a successor of 7.5. And that's why the versioning also started afresh. It didn't start from 7.6. So there is no BW 7.6. BW naming convention or the versioning stopped at 7.5. I think the latest SP is SP25 or 26. I don't remember it, but that's where it stopped. And BW4HANA started with a new versioning, which is 1.x or 1.0, SP1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so on and so forth. And then now it's 2.0, SP1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is not a successor, but it's a new generation and a completely new product from SAP. Why? Because now the NetWeaver is gone. BW4HANA is not a NetWeaver based system. Please don't get confused between NetWeaver and ABAP. It is still, ABAP server is still there. So BW4HANA is still based on ABAP application server, but NetWeaver components are removed. So it's called a lean application server, and we'll talk about that. What do we mean by lean? But that's why SAP has launched this as a new product completely. Okay, so it was launched in 2016, and from there on it began becoming popular, and now we are on 2.0 SP5. So that's the journey of BW on HANA and then BW for HANA. Now, if you look at the entire history of BW, of course, it started way back in 1998, where it started with 1.0, 99 1.2, 2000 marked the beginning of 2.0 versions, 3.0, 3.5 was a very popular version. I have worked on 3.5, and it was a very stable and popular version. And then a major transformational release or a change, a huge change, was 7.x, where this started to make things more optimized. DTPs were introduced, transformations were introduced. Prior to that, we had update rules and other type of older objects, and then they were replaced by new objects. And then 2012, HANA was launched. So BW, all the databases were removed from the BW, and they said that now you can run it on HANA. And then people started migrating to BW on HANA. And then finally BW for HANA. So this is the end-to-end journey of BW from 1998 to 2020. Okay, I have been talking about BW for HANA, BW on HANA, but on a layman terms, what is a data warehouse? So BW is a data warehouse, that we know, but what is a data warehouse and how is it different from ECC or S4HANA? So data warehouse is basically a system which is responsible to generate reports, and it is responsible to consolidate data from all your source systems in your company and then give you a consolidated reporting. So basically data warehouse is something who is answering your questions like what was the sales in 2020, how does it compare with 2019, how are we doing on the product marketing, how are we doing in this particular region, North America, how are we doing in Europe. So these are all the questions that top management or the middle management they ask on a day-to-day basis, and to answer them we need reports, and those reports needs data, and that's what BW is for. It's supposed to consolidate data and store it in an optimized way, which is data warehousing, and then generate reports. That's the main purpose. Then what is SAP ECC or S4? SAP ECC S4 is a transaction system. It is not supposed to answer your queries only. Okay, the main purpose of SAP ECC or S4 is to store data and integrate your different departments in the company. Say for example, you have sales department, you have marketing department, you have HR department, you have finance people. So it's all an integrated department because it's all one company. So on a daily basis, you are putting transactions. It's a transactional system. You are inserting data in it and storing data in it, and that data, if you purchase department, if they put the data, it goes to the inventory, and then inventory people, they talk to FI people. So it's all interconnected. So your day-to-day operations of a company, if you want to run, you have to talk to the different departments. They amongst themselves, they have to talk to each other. So, and they have to input data on a daily basis in a system where they can, see their current status. So that's what is an OLTP, online transaction processing. Transaction is the keyword. It is meant to do daily transactions. It is not meant to do reporting. But BW for HANA is meant to do reporting. I'm not saying you cannot do reporting in S4 HANA or ECC. Definitely you can do reporting there. Okay, but that's not the primary purpose of the system. Okay, you can definitely do transactions and reporting, and we will see that if we have S4, why do we need BW4? Okay, that's a very common question, and we'll try to answer that. But before we go there, I just want to make sure that you understand the differentiation between an S4 HANA system and a BW4 HANA system. S4 HANA is a transaction system, and BW4 HANA is a data warehousing. It's like, for example, a project manager has given you a task. Okay, you have to create 100 Excel sheets, and in the 100 Excel sheets, you have to input 1,000 lines of data each. So you are your head down on your desk, you are working. Okay, you're continuously working, you're creating Excel sheet 1, you're putting 1,000 data, Excel sheet 2, 1,000 data, and suddenly two people comes to you and say that, Oh, how are you doing? Oh, by the way, can you tell me the sales figure from Excel sheet 4? Oh, by the way, can you tell me the sales figure from Excel sheet 5? Oh, can you combine this and show me how much is the data? While you are doing your work, if 2 people, 3 people, 4 people start coming on your desk where you're working and start asking questions while you're working, you will be irritated, you will be annoyed, and your work will slow down. That's what happens when you put reporting burden. So these questions are nothing but your reporting, right? So you will say, hey, let me complete my work first and then I can answer you. But if you start answering them right away, then your work, your actually creation of the Excel sheet will slow down. So that's what happens in ECC or S4HANA. S4HANA's main task is to do the transactions. So as a developer, you are creating your Excel sheet, you are inputting data. So that's what you're doing, a transaction. Now, if people start coming and asking questions, that's your reporting needs. Okay. So that also S4 can do, but then at the same time, if you start putting too much pressure on anyone, okay, doing their work and asking the question at the same time, they will get annoyed and your performance will go down. That's why we need a separate system which can answer your question. Okay. So now you have a second guy sitting beside you. If somebody comes to you, you can say that, hey, talk to them, please. I'm busy right now. He can answer or she can answer your question. So that's your reporting system, okay, which will generate reports for you and answer your questions. All right. So there's a difference between an OLTP and an OLAP. OLAP stands for online analytical processing, not transaction processing. Okay, so that's the main difference. Now the question is, S4HANA is the latest and greatest in ERP, the enterprise resource planning, the enterprise software from SAP. S4HANA also sits on top of HANA database, and BW4HANA also sits on top of HANA database. Then why do we need BW4HANA if we already have S4HANA? Because I said I said HANA is very powerful. HANA can do almost everything what an application server can do, right? So if HANA is so powerful, why do I need a BW system separately if I already have an S4 system? I can do reporting there. HANA is supposed to handle it, right? HANA is so powerful. Then why? Why is the need for BW4HANA? So there are main 4 reasons, as per my understanding, which will mandate or which will require you to have a separate BW or separate data warehousing solutions. Reason number 1, most of the organizations, they don't have just one system as your transaction system. They will have multiple systems as a transaction systems, meaning your S4 can be one of your main sources of transactions, but you will also have something called success factors, which will be your HR. You will also have some other SQL Server based systems. You will also have some other Oracle based systems. You will also have, say, for example, PeopleSoft. So there can be multiple, and there are multiple systems, source systems, transaction systems in a company, not just S4. So if I ask you that combine the data from all these systems and then give me the reporting, are you going to combine all these to S4? No. S4 is not supposed to combine data from all your systems and then give you the reporting. That's not the primary purpose. S4 is going to go seriously down if you try to do that. So to answer the questions on consolidated data, that means data combining from multiple systems, you need a separate data warehousing solution. You cannot just connect your PeopleSoft, your Oracle, your SQL Server, everything you connect to S4 and then you say that, okay, generate the reports from me. No, S4 is not meant for that. So if you have multiple systems, you will need a system which is specifically designed to consolidate and combine data from multiple systems and then generate reports for you. That's one of the main reasons you still need a separate data warehousing solution. Second reason, S4 can definitely handle your transactions and reporting within S4 is called embedded analytics, which is based on CDS views. Okay. So you can do reporting there, operational reporting, real-time reporting. Fine. You can definitely do that. And that's exactly what happened with one of my previous clients. They only had S4 and they said that we don't have multiple systems. We just have S4 as our main system. That's all. So why do we need BW? So they don't buy the BW4HANA license. All right. So they started with their S4 journey. They were very happy. Their transactions were happening and their reporting also started. They started activating and using the standard CDS views based embedded analytics. And we'll talk about embedded analytics in a moment, don't worry. But that is the reporting side in S4. So they started doing that and people were happy. 6 months passed by, 1 year passed by, they started recruiting more people. Of course, the company grows. That was a startup company. And once the company grows, the volume grows and the number of users will grow. Okay. So the volume from thousands, it went to millions, and from millions, it went to billions of records. Okay. I'm talking about ACDOCA, the main transaction FI table. And then the users, from 100, it went to 1,000. From 1,000, it went to tens of thousands. Once you have that kind of user base, and once your volume goes from millions to billions, okay, and you are doing reporting, heavy reporting, and now users got used to simple reports. Now they are not asking simple reports anymore. Now they are saying combine sales, combine marketing, combine FI, and give me a complex reporting. I should be able to do slice and dice, this, that, and their complex custom requirements started coming in. Gradually, what we saw is S4's performance started going down, because S4 is not supposed to handle your complex consolidated reporting. And now, since people got used to S4, they became mature in S4 HANA usage. They started asking complex questions which needed data from multiple departments. And the standard CDS views did not cater to their requirement. We created custom CDS views which combined the standard CDS views, and then we started writing custom heavy code in the CDS views. And that's where we saw that S4 started to go down in performance. So S4 can definitely handle your reporting along with your transactions, but beyond a certain point, beyond that certain volume and the users, you will see performance degradation. So that's another reason. And then later on, after 2 years, that company now has BW4HANA as a separate data warehouse. So this is the second reason. Third reason is downtimes. So if you have your reporting within your S4, okay, you don't have a separate data warehouse, you don't have a separate system who can answer your questions. S4 is answering your questions, and S4 is doing the transaction as well. If S4 goes down due to some reason, patch upgrades or system maintenance or anything else, your reporting will also go down. You cannot do reporting. If your S4 is down for 3 days, your reporting is down for 3 days. But if you have a separate system as your data warehousing, even if S4 goes down, your reporting can continue. Whatever data you have already pulled in the BW system or any other data warehousing solution, that data is available to you. Of course, the feed from S4 or the data transfer from S4 will stop because S4 has gone down. But your reporting on the data which is already there can continue. And the fourth reason is upgrades for S4. If you're upgrading S4, you have to make sure that all your custom code, what you have written within your S4 for CDS views, okay, that is compatible with the upgraded version, the upgraded language, because ABAP on HANA is changing. The language, the syntax is changing. So you have to make sure that your reporting is also upgraded properly, and you have a lot of manual efforts you will have there. So if you have your transaction and your reporting both in the same system, you will have problems. And these are the 4 reasons which I have faced in my clients and projects, where they were forced or they realized that a separate BW system or a separate data warehousing system is necessary. So that's why we need a separate BW4HANA, even though if you have S4HANA. All right, next question, very common question again. Difference between on HANA and for HANA, okay? Why should I go for HANA? Many customers are asking this. I already have 7.4 or I already have 7.5, then why do I need? Okay, Arpan has raised his hand. Yes, Arpan, go ahead. You have any concerns, any issues?
Yeah. So I have a question in our we have discussed 4 scenario in our previous question, right? So
Yeah.
can we install this BW for BW on HANA plugin on our S4 HANA server to answer all these questions, all the reporting requirements?
Okay, good question. By the way, let's keep questions for the end, because if I start asking questions in the middle of the presentation, we can get distracted and deviated. But I'm going to answer this question. But please
Okay.
keep a note of all your questions. I am going to answer them at the end. Okay. Okay. Since you have asked this, let me answer this. So the question, let me reiterate the question so that everybody understands it. Arpan is asking that, is BW on HANA or for HANA is there in S4 HANA or not? Or can we install the BW4HANA or BW on HANA within S4HANA or not? That's the question. So the answer is yes and no. Yes, you have an embedded BW. Every NetWeaver system or every ABAP based system from SAP will have something called embedded BW. That means it comes pre-installed with a BW system. You don't have to install it separately, or you don't have to install any plugin. Every system, whether it's CRM, whether it's S4HANA, whether it's Ariba, or any system from SAP, which is ABAP based system, will have a BW already embedded inside, and that's called embedded BW. And you can, and that's usually used for BPC. When you have BPC within S4, which is BPC optimized for S4, you use the embedded BW system as your backend for BPC. Now, which version is BW, embedded BW? Embedded BW is always BW 7.5 on HANA. BW for HANA is not possible inside S4 HANA. Inside S4 HANA or inside any other ABAP systems, for any ABAP system of S4 of SAP, you will have latest, you can have 7.5. Okay, not BW4 HANA. BW4 HANA is always a separate server. But within S4 HANA, if you want to use a BW, definitely there is already there for you. You don't have to do anything special. And 7.5 is the version which you will be using. Okay. All right. Okay, so the next question is the difference between BW on HANA and BW for HANA. So why should I go for BW for HANA when I already have on HANA? I already have 7.5, I already have AD, I'm already using ADSOs, I'm already using composite providers. Why do I need to go for BW for HANA? So to answer that, you have to know the difference between BW on HANA and for HANA. Okay. All right. So first difference is, on HANA will still allow InfoCube and multi-providers, meaning older type of objects are still allowed in on HANA. For HANA, you can only use ADSOs and composite providers. So if you are ready, you only have ADSOs and composite provider, and you want a better performance for these, then you go for BW for HANA. The second important part, actually I should have included it here, let me include it right away, is CDS views based standard data sources, not there in BW on HANA. CDS views based standard data sources is there in BW for HANA. This is one of the major reasons. So with BW for HANA, now we are seeing some changes in the extractors, some changes in the data sources. What are those changes? It is now being based on CDS views. So all the new data sources in the standard content in BW for HANA, now they are based on CDS views. A glaring example is plant maintenance. So for plant maintenance, they have started giving the CDS view based data sources. And if you have S4, you will have CDS views. You will no longer have calculation view based models. Okay, the VDMs, the virtual data models, are no longer calculation view based in S4 HANA. They are all migrated to CDS view based. Of course, you can still create calculation views in S4 HANA. There is no stopping you from there. If you want to do that, you can do that. But the preferred way is CDS views. CDS views have replaced calculation views. And if you want to use those CDS views and the standard extractors which are based on CDS views, they are not available in BW on HANA. They will be available in BW for HANA. Okay, custom data sources, yes, you can create both sides. in your BW on HANA, custom data sources based on CDS views I'm talking about. But standard data sources, gradually the data sources for SD, data sources for FI, data sources for HR, everything will be based on CDS views. And those CDS view based data sources will not be available in on HANA, but will be available in for HANA. Next difference, info objects and fields. In BW on HANA, the primary object is info objects. Fields you can use, but they are not matured. Field-based ADSOs are not as matured and robust and stable as in for HANA. In for HANA, fields and info objects, both you can use with equal ease or convenience. And of course, info objects are also enhanced in BW for HANA. There is something called parallel loading or enhanced master data and transitive attributes. So there are certain things which have been enhanced in info objects which only exist in BW for HANA, and fields are also now made much more matured, and you can use field-based ADSOs in your staging layer. So info objects and fields now both can be used very easily. On HANA, you definitely can use fields, but then you will have lots of problems. You will have issues if you do that. And you have to implement a lot of SAP nodes and things like that. But in for HANA, it is seamless. RSA1 T code. RSA1 T code modeling tab is still available in BW on HANA. RSA1 T code is still there, by the way. It has not gone away. But RSA1 T code modeling tab was still available and is still available in on HANA, but not available in for HANA. So no more modeling tab in RSA1. All the modeling has shifted to Eclipse. It is not cloud ready. That means you cannot have a BW on HANA if you want to do on cloud like Amazon Web Services or Google Cloud or Microsoft Azure. It is not ready for cloud. I mean, you can do that, but it will not be seamless. But BW for HANA is also, it can be installed on the cloud. Again, BW for HANA is not meant to be a cloud-based system. It is primarily an on-premise systems, but you can host your BW for HANA server on the Azure cloud or SAP's own cloud or Google Cloud, etc. Right? So it can be deployed on the cloud as well. It is compatible with that. Not meant to be a cloud system, but it is compatible with the cloud. Modeling objects have been consolidated. Of course, we had 10 modeling objects, and now only we have 4. 2 for persistency and 2 for your virtual access. So info object and ADSO. This is for your storing the data persistency, and your composite provider and open ODS views for virtual access. So the SAP has consolidated. So you can no longer create a multi-provider. You can no longer create the older objects in BW for HANA. Java Stack is available in BW on HANA. Java Stack is not available in BW for HANA. That means your enterprise portal is gone. Okay, there is no more enterprise portal which you can activate and connect to BW for HANA. Your some other Java related, Java Stack related objects, right? They are now gone. So there is no Java Stack, and it is not a part of NetWeaver. Please remember that. Okay. This is definitely a part of NetWeaver. So NetWeaver components and Java Stack are still there. Data flow modeler is not there, and a very easy to create data flow modeler is there. Data flow modeler means it's like so drag and drop. So I will show you in the system demo. So in the data flow modeler, you can create a blueprint. That means you can put a composite provider, ADSOs, your transformation, DTP, everything. You can create a blueprint, and from that you can start creating all your objects. So it is a very easy to use a graphical tool to create all your objects, and then you can visualize them at one place. So data flow modeler was not there previously. It was even if it is there, it was a very premature version, but data flow modeler has been greatly enhanced in BW for HANA, which I will show you in the system. GUI based administration and monitoring. Now we have a cockpit, BW for HANA cockpit, which is a web based, Fiori based tool which you can use for administration and monitoring. ODP, operational data provisioning, which gives you ODQs, right? Delta Qs are gone. RSA7 T code is no more used. We have a new T code, which is ODQ mon, which we will see in detail hands-on when we do the extraction. So ODP is optional. You can activate ODP, and traditional source system, which is SAP API, is still available. But ODP now becomes the default in BW for HANA. If you want to extract data from SAP extractors, ODP SAP is the default type, and ODQs are used. RSS7 is no longer used. Info package is gone. No more info packages. So previously we had info package and DTP. Now we have only DTP. PSA was mandatory, and PSA was there, and you could skip PSA also in older versions. But now PSA is completely gone. It is replaced by inbound table of ADSO. So remember, you used to modify data in PSA. Data used to come in PSA. If there is a problem, you used to modify the data and then push it forward. Same functionality is now there in the inbound table of ADSOs. You can edit and modify data in the inbound table of ADSO. And we will see that when we do the hands-on, when we go into the training, we will do that. So these are the evolution of objects. As I told you, SAP has consolidated the number of info providers. So initially we had info object, cube, package, info package, update rule, transfer rule, multi-provider, query, etc. Then it started to consolidate the things, and finally now today we have only few objects: ADSO, composite provider, new. By the way, composite provider also had two versions, old and new. Old one is called COPR and the new one is called HCPR. So this is a new composite provider. OpenODS view, HANA analysis process, and info object is still there. So info object has not gone. Info object is still there, and it is also the preferred way to do modeling at the higher layers. At lower layers, you only need fields, but at higher layers, you need info objects. So SAP has consolidated the objects over the time. And in BW4HANA, no more supported. The old objects you cannot create. You will only be working with new objects. So question is, what happens to older BW versions? They are still supported. Okay, BW4HANA 2.0, end of maintenance is 2024. It is extended till 2027 also. A lot of customers have asked SAP, and SAP has extended the previous versions maintenance till 2027, okay, including BW 7.0. So don't worry, your systems will be supported and you will have enough time to do the migration. So there's an SAP note 1648480. If you want to know the exact dates of what is the date till when this particular version of my BW is supported, you can go to this note and you will see the end of maintenance date. So in February of this year, SAP announced this extension, which I'm talking about. They said that, okay, my business suite 7 versions, 7.4, 7.5, 7.0 will be extended, okay, because customers need some time to do the migration, because they have heavy customized system and it takes time for them to migrate. So SAP has extended the maintenance. Next very important question and very common question. If I have BW or if I go for BW, is S4 mandatory? And the answer is no. And the second question, vice versa, is if I go for S4, is BW4HANA mandatory? The answer is no. They are not dependent on each other. BW4HANA can be implemented with source as ECC, that's possible, and S4HANA also. Similarly, S4HANA can be implemented with BW on HANA or BW on Oracle or BW on SQL Server. That's very much possible. You don't have to upgrade your BW to BW4HANA for it to work with S4HANA. Of course, there will be some changes, right? The tables have been consolidated, so you have to make sure your extractor is still supported, your code is still working, and those things will definitely have to be checked. But it's not a mandatory thing for you to upgrade your systems in order to support the upgrade from the previous one. Upgrade of the other system. So S4HANA is not mandatory for BW4. BW4HANA is not mandatory for S4HANA. What about the DB versions? HANA DB, important. Please remember this, okay? BW4HANA 1.0 can run both on HANA 1.0 and HANA 2.0, okay? But BW4HANA 2.0 application server can only run on HANA 2.0. So if you're upgrading your BW4HANA from 1 to 2, then you have to make sure your HANA database is 2 if it is not 1, because 1.0 is not supported for the application server BW4HANA 2.0. Okay, you have to be clear about these two things, guys. There is an application server and there is a database server. When I talk about HANA 1.0, 2.0, I'm talking about database, HANA database. And when I'm talking about BW4, I'm talking about application server, ABAP, lean application server, which sits on top of HANA database. All right. Next question. What about SAP source systems? Yes, there is a minimum source system requirement. Okay, if you go for BW4HANA, then your ECC or ERP should be upgraded at least to 6.0 or higher, which is usually the case. That is a minimum prerequisite for the source system. If you have CRM, it should be 5.0 or higher. And if you have supply chain management, SCM, it should be also 5.0 or higher. So these are certain minimum mandatory requirements for the source system to work with BW4HANA. Next question, can I go directly to 2.0? If I have, say, for example, 7.3, and if I want to go for BW4HANA, do I have to jump through two hoops? First, I go to 1.0 and then 2.0, or can I directly go? The answer is you can directly go, but you have to have BW4HANA 2.0 minimum SP level as SP2. From SP2 onwards, 2.0 SP2 onwards, direct conversion is supported. But if you are planning for any lower SP levels, then it is not supported. Then you have to first go to 1.0 and then you will jump to 2.0. Okay, but if you have SP2 or higher, if you are planning for SP2 or higher, then the direct conversion is supported. What about the non-SAP source systems? Well, systems that are not based on ABAP application server and used as a source for BW4HANA must be compatible with SDA or SDI. That means if you want to use your non-SAP source systems and you want to connect to BW4HANA, they should be compatible with SDI, Smart Data Integration, or SDA, Smart Data Access. These are technologies from SAP where they can go to non-SAP source systems and fetch the data for you. What about standard contents like LO Cockpit? Is that changed? Is that gone? The answer is no. LO Cockpit is not gone. LO Cockpit is still there. Your T codes like RSA5, RSA6, LWWE, etc. are still there. So LO Cockpit has not gone. The process to activate the standard LO Cockpit extractors are also still the same. Okay, and the process to enhance them has changed. That has gone from your function module based enhancement to your baddie based enhancement, RSU5 SAP baddie. This is the default way now to enhance your standard extractors. And in our end-to-end scenario, which we will implement in our training, you are going to use this baddie. I'm going to show you how to use the baddie, how to enhance your standard extractors using this baddie. So the process is the same, but the way to enhance them has changed. Okay, so it's no more that RSAP 001 and you go to your CMOD and do the enhancement. That's gone. Now you have to go to SE18 and SE19 and deal with the baddie, and then in the baddie you will create methods, and in the methods you will write your code. So this is OOPS. So you have to be familiar with ABAP OOPS concept, object-oriented concepts. And new process of enhancing CDS views. So now extractors are gradually going on CDS views. So I will teach you what is a CDS view, the basics of CDS views, and then we'll create a extractor based on CDS view. And then I'll show you how you enhance and extend those CDS view based extractors. It's a special process which is called extension CDS views. So we'll do that as well. All right. I've heard terms like CDS views, embedded analytics, AMDP. What are those? So CDS views is a new way to create your models in S4HANA. Okay, it's basically a select query. CDS view is nothing but a select query on multiple tables. Okay, and then what is an AMDP? AMDP stands for ABAP Managed Database Procedure, and that is basically your like a HANA, people from HANA background, if I have to compare, it's a procedure. Okay, CDS view is a select query. It's just like a DB view, and AMDP is your procedure, meaning that this is a new way to implement your methods, and the methods, the code, the language you will use in the method will be your SQL script. And the moment you create that SQL script based method, that method will execute as a procedure in HANA database. So that's what is called ABAP Managed Database Procedure. It's still class and methods. Okay, that has not gone. This is still ABAP class and ABAP method, but the code written inside that method will not be executed by the application server. It will be executed by your database, HANA database. So that's the code push down. That's what is called AMDP, and we will do that. So AMDP has gone into transformations. AMDP has come into the query variables. So we'll do all that using AMDP. So this is a future tool. CDS view is a future tool for standard and custom data sources for BW4HANA and technical content. If you remember the statistics, BI statistics, 0 TCT, all that has migrated to CDS views, right? So this is just to show you that there were a lot of tables, and that previously the concept was that all these tables were directly used in the ABAP reports or all the reporting you create. But now there is a layer, there is a middle layer in between, which is called your embedded analytics. That's basically your CDS views. So those are the CDS views we will create, and there are something called annotations, there is something called expressions. So when we create CDS views, we will talk about all that. So what is the future direction? This is the future direction. SAP is saying that all my data sources, the new data sources, will generate a CDS view and the data source will be generated based on the CDS view in BW4HANA side. So you can no longer find the CDS view based data sources in RSA 5. If you try to find the data source in RSA 5, they will not be there. Why? Because the new concept is that the CDS view will be there in the source, but the data source which gets generated or which is created on top of CDS views will be in BW4HANA side. So you will find in BW, if you try to find the data source, you will find it there. So all the standard data sources will gradually move to your CDS views. Okay. Previously, it was called HANA Life, which was based on calculation views in S4HANA. Now they have been replaced by CDS views. And AMDP is the future tool for transformation routines, start routine, end routine, field routine, expert routine. Everything is now done as an AMDP class and method. Okay. And we will see that everything is hands-on, guys. Okay. We are going to create transformations and enhance them using the AMDP class and method, and we will debug them as well. So I'll show you how to debug them. And then we have custom programs. So this is what it will look like. Previously, it was ABAP based. Okay. Everything was happening in the application server, not the database server. But now with AMDP based transformation routines, you can push down the code to your native HANA. Okay, class will automatically be generated, and there's a very important interface, IF AMDP marker HDB. So we'll talk about that when we talk about AMDP. Is GUI used anymore? The backend GUI, this guy, SAP NetWeaver GUI for Windows, is this used anymore? The answer is yes, it is used. It is not gone. Why is it used for? It is used for business content activation, because right now we don't have business content activation native editor in Eclipse. Transports, if you have to do, you will still use the GUI, the backend GUI, but you don't have to open this GUI. This GUI can be opened directly from within the Eclipse. So you don't have to navigate out of Eclipse anymore. Within Eclipse, you can call this SAP GUI logon, and from Eclipse only, you can do your transaction codes, RSA1, SE18, SE19, SN37, etc. All your transaction codes can be called from within the Eclipse. Okay, so you don't have to come here. But the backend GUI is still alive, and backend GUI is still required for certain things. What are those things? Business content activation and transport mainly. Okay, finally to end this, and then we will come to quick questions and answers. When to use which tool? So you have heard of BW4HANA, you have heard of native HANA, you have heard of data warehouse cloud, embedded analytics. So when to use which tool? Okay, a lot of people are still confused. So you have to remember that any company has to have two objects, the on-premise and the cloud. They have to have two offerings. So these are the on-premise tools for data warehousing, and these are the cloud tools for data warehousing. On-premise tools are BW4HANA. This is preferred if you have SAP sources like S4HANA and other SAP sources. Why? Because you can leverage the standard extractors and CDS views, etc. Native HANA, which is no BW, pure native HANA. In the database itself, you are doing the modeling using calculation views. When is that preferred? Preferred if you don't have any SAP source systems. Most of your or all of your data sources are non-SAP, and you can just use your SLT, which is real-time replication, or HDI or BODS to get the data and do your modeling. So if you don't have any SAP source system, you cannot leverage the standard extractors. You cannot leverage the CDS views there, standard CDS views. So in those cases, you will go for native HANA based data warehousing. Then comes embedded analytics, which is within S4. Okay, this is preferred if you don't have many source systems. If you just have one system, which is S4, then you can do your reporting based on embedded analytics. But if you have multiple systems and if you want to combine data, then you need a BW4HANA system. Okay. Hybrid, this is also very common. So some people, like many clients I have seen, they have BW on HANA or for HANA, and they also have native HANA activated. So they use a hybrid of the two models, which is very much possible. And you can integrate your native HANA stuff with your composite provider, and vice versa. You can create calculation views from your PW objects and use it in the native HANA side. So the hybrid model is also very much valid. Then you have cloud tools. Cloud tools are data warehouse cloud. This is preferred if you don't have BW, and if you are completely ready for cloud, then you go for data warehouse cloud. Data warehouse cloud can also be with BW4HANA, so hybrid scenario. Something you want to keep on premise and something you want to go on cloud. You can definitely have a combination of data warehouse cloud with BW4HANA. Similarly, data warehouse cloud with native HANA is also possible with the hybrid scenario. So please remember that there are two types of tools: on-premise, which is your BW4HANA, native HANA, embedded analytics, etc., and cloud tools, pure cloud, data warehouse cloud with BW4HANA, hybrid, and with native HANA. Okay, so with that, I will just stop here. Enough of me talking. Now, I know I have to tell you the course structure, but I'm not going there right now because we are already 7:53. But at the end, if you can stay for 5 more minutes, I'll go through the course structure. But right now, I'll just open the forum for any questions you have.
Yeah, so they want to. I have question like, as you mentioned that in BW for HANA,
Yes.
we don't have function module based data sources. Am I right?
Yes, the enhancements, if you want to do the enhancements for the standard data sources, you will not
Yes.
use the function module anymore. You will use the BADI.
Okay. So, no. My question is like initially you mentioned that like in before BW for HANA, we have data sources based on CDS views.
Yes,
Right?
correct.
In that, so those standard data sources, are, like as you mentioned that it's based on CDS view.
Yes.
So like any other data sources or any other from any other module, any data sources available which is based on either body or a function module,
Yes.
or all
Yes.
got converted
Not
into
everything
CDS.
has moved to CDS views. So gradually SAP is moving the module by module. So right now, like plant maintenance, I have seen they have CDS view data sources. But if you talk about our SD, like sales and distribution, where you have your sales header, sales item, schedule line, etc. And then, so basically your LBWE, right? So those data sources are still based on, not based on CDS views, but it is still based on your function module. And the way to enhance them is no more function module. It is based on BADI. So if you see my system, I'll log into S4HANA. Okay, this is by the way the Eclipse, the new place where we will do all our modeling, and I'm logging into S4HANA. Okay, I'll show you what I'm talking about. So within S4HANA, you will see that there are data sources which are still based on the old concept, like your logistics cockpit. But the way to enhance them, previously we used to go to CMod and create a project, and then there were 4 function modules, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you used to do your enhancement there. That is gone. So if you call, and this is the way you can call SAP GUI I was talking about, you can call the SAP GUI within your Eclipse. Okay, so I'm using that, and within Eclipse I'm using the GUI. So now here, if you talk about the data sources, they are still there. Okay, these data sources, like for inventory you have data sources, you have for quality management you have data sources, you have your sales and distribution based data sources. So all that is still there, and these are old concepts only, 11, 12, 13, but the way they are enhanced has changed. And gradually you will see over the time, in 2 years, 3 years time, all these data sources will also be now based on CDS views. And when a data source is based on CDS views, the name is no longer 2LIS. The name will change to 0I. All those data sources will start with the prefix 0I, and you cannot find those data sources in RSA5 here. You will be able to find the CDS view here, which they are based on. But if you try to find the 0I here, you will not find it here. You'll have to go in BW4HANA, which is my this system, and then you can search there and you will find it there.
Okay. So there is no need to replicate in our BW system now.
No, data source is already there. You just need to activate them. Okay. So just like how you activate the standard content, right? So you have to activate the data sources now, the CDS view based data sources in BW side. Okay. Yeah. Any other question?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So I have a question again. Are we going to see the web service data sources as well in our training?
No, I'm not going to cover web service data sources. The two types of data sources I will cover: the standard data sources, how to enhance them using BADI, and then CDS view based data sources and how to enhance them. So we'll give an introduction of CDS views also, because those are the most frequently used data sources. Web services data sources is not so frequently used, so that's not covered.
Okay. And suppose I'm aware about almost 50% of topics which you are going to cover, but 50% or topics are there which is very new to me, like ODQ and like ODQ mount transaction code. All those things are new to me.
Yeah.
However, like CDS views, AMDPs, I am aware about.
Okay. So you have used AMDP in transformations and customer exit,
yes,
HANA exit variables, and all those things you're aware, you're saying?
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay. So see, these are the things which I will be taking you through. So we will always start with a business scenario. I'm not going to just give you random, I'm not going to explain topics randomly to you. Okay. We will always start with a customer requirement. So there are two reports, and the end goal is in SAP Analytics Cloud. We are going to end with SAP Analytics Cloud. So we are going to create the integration between BW4HANA and SAC, and that's where you will have to end. So we'll start with the customer requirement. The customer needs two reports in SAC, and then we will start with that. We will start the blueprint of those requirements, how we will design. Then we will start creating native HANA models, calculation views, table functions, database procedures using smart data access. So you will create a remote source, and based on that remote source, we'll create virtual tables, and based on those, we'll create staging tables, and then calculation views, procedures, table functions on that. So we'll do that. Then we will come to the standard data sources. We'll enhance them using the BADI. Then we will create CDS views and the data source based on CDS views. There are two types, right? One is annotation based, where you will use the ODQ, and the one is generic delta based on CDS views, where you will not use the ODQ. So we will create both the types of data sources there. Then we will come to the ODQ and ODP, where I'll show you what is the subscription based model looks like, how the subscription is created, and how the new structure looks like in ODQ model. Then we will go ahead and create the custom ADSOs, DTPs transformation in the BW layer, where we will create custom routines in transformations using AMDP class and method. And finally, we will also create the OpenODS views for virtual access using smart data access. So OpenODS views can access data either locally or through smart data access. So we will use both. And then we will create composite providers based on these ADSOs, OpenODS views, and the HANA CV, which we created. Okay. So that HANA CV we will be using in the composite provider, and I'll show you how a HANA CV can be used. And that HANA CV will have input parameter. So there is a special process to create a variable on that input parameter. So we will use that HANA CV with input parameter in the composite provider.
Okay.
Then we will create BW query on top of the composite provider. Okay. And also I will show you the new features of composite provider, like aggregation, projection, filter, SQL filter, calculated column. These were not there in composite provider. This came in 2.0 SP4. So we will also create them. Then finally, we will use the BW query. We'll create the query. We'll create customer exit variables. We'll create HANA exit variables. And I'll show you how you can use the AMDP class and method to write the code. Then we'll create process chain. The new place to create a process chain is BW4HANA cockpit. So we'll see how we will create a process chain there and schedule them. And we will also, if time permits, we will also see the streaming process chain feature, which is a new feature for the process chain, which is real time. And then finally, we will do the SAC to BW connectivity using cross-origin resource sharing. This is a live connectivity between BW4HANA and SAC. And finally, we will consume the BW queries we created in SAC and create our model and story. So this is the entire flow of the things we are going to do. And this is complete hands-on, okay? So we will achieve that. So we'll start with the basic requirement from client and we'll end in SAC. That's the journey we'll do. And if time permits, optionally, there are some advanced topics like analysis authorizations on ADSOs, generation of CVs from different info providers, inventory data flow, streaming process chain, open hub, and migration scenarios. So people who are interested in migration, what are the options available from a normal BW to BW4HANA? We can talk about that if the time permits. The duration is 7 weeks, which starts with 1st of August, goes till 13th of September. The course timing is going to be only weekends, 8:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. EST, Canada time. I am located in Canada, so that's my time. For India, it's going to be 6 to 8 p.m. Okay, in the evening. For Europe, it will be 1:30 to 3:30 in the afternoon. And for Australian people, it will be 10:30 p.m. to 12:30. This is a little bit of an odd time, I can understand. So that's a challenge right now. But if you can't attend, you will always have recording. So every session will be recorded, and it will be given access to. Okay.
So these content will be available with download option. Right?
Hello.
That's right. That's right. So let me show you what I did for batch 1. Okay, so you'll get an idea. So what we'll do is, for the batch, I have created a folder. So for every batch, I'm going to create a folder. This was for previous batch. Previous batch, what I do is, for every session, you will have material. The material which I go through, okay? Like for example, in getting started, I went through what content you will be having it in 2 formats. OneNote format, because OneNote is the primary modus operandi and primary tool I use, as you have seen. So there'll be, I have download that, and also in the PDF format. So both formats will be available for every session. There'll be a PDF format and a OneNote format, and it is downloadable. The material is downloadable. The recorded sessions, which I will provide you on YouTube, they are not downloadable. They are lifetime access. You go to your YouTube, you log in within your YouTube, and you will be able to see those recordings. But the material is there. So there are 2 types of material: session specific material. That means whatever I'm going through here in the OneNote, that will be available to you to download. Plus you will have additional material which will include your certification material. That means your full certification and your Delta certification. There are 2 certifications in BW4HANA. So both certification PDFs are there. Plus some additional books are there. And then concept like composite provider, I have given PDFs and one
So
SAP
recordings
notes,
are not
etc.
downloadable.
Sorry?
Recordings are not downloadable.
No,
right?
recordings are not downloadable. So as you can see, I have seen recordings. They are available to you, lifetime access, but they are not downloadable. And availability is like, for example, for today's class, the recording will be available tomorrow.
Okay.
There will be Q&A sessions, guys. Okay, I have dedicated 30 minutes before the main session and 30 minutes after the main session. So main session is going to be 2 hours long. Okay, but I will log in half an hour early, and I will see if there are any questions. I'll answer them. Then after the session, we will have another 30 minutes for any other questions and answers. So I will make sure that all your doubts and questions are answered.
Okay, so I have a question. This is
Yes.
Bruno speaking from Lisbon,
Yes,
Portugal. So hello everybody. Here is lunchtime already.
Yeah,
right.
Bruno.
So we are a little bit starving. So a question regarding the actual access to BW4HANA and S4HANA. So during this workshop, during this course, do we have the access to the systems already, or do we have to subscribe to any provider to have hands-on and to really do the exercises as you've spoken about it?
Good question. Thank you for asking that question. That was my next thing I wanted to explain. So I don't provide servers. Okay, that you have to be clear in your mind. I don't provide servers. I will recommend a vendor to you, the one which I use personally. So this one which you are seeing, this guy is a really good guy. Why? Because when the server they are providing is the latest. Okay, so they will have this. They will have BW4HANA 2.0 SP4, which is the one I'm using. And then they will have S04HANA, which is 1909, which is the latest. They will have the CDS views capability, so you can create CDS views there. They will have the ODP, SAP, ODP, CDS configured. They will have SAC BW4HANA integration configured so that you can connect your SAC trial instance with your BW4HANA server. And they will have an excellent support. So this is the reason why, these are all the reasons why I'm using their server. Okay. But it's completely up to you. See, if you already have somebody who you have worked with in the past, you are more than welcome to go with them. But the one which I recommend is these guys. This is the email address for them. And the reason I'm using this is because most of the servers you will find the support is not good. So if you face a dump or if you face an error, you send them an email, they are not resolving in time or they don't know these things, right? But this guy will respond to you very fast and he will probably come on call with you and he will try to resolve your issue as soon as possible. So that's why.
Okay, so that is really good because my previous experience with service providers are not good. So good. Huh?
Correct.
So that's why I was a little bit afraid, because your course content are actually good from what I've seen so far. And what I really want to avoid is
hassles with the vendor.
Exactly. And I don't really want to spend a huge amount of time with performance issues, with access to. I really wanted a seamless experience where I would just connect to BW4 and S4 and just do the entire training without hassle. You see my point?
Absolutely. And so that's why I have tested 5 or 6 vendors already. Okay. And these guys are the best. They will probably charge you a little bit extra than the other guys, but it will be worthwhile. But again, yes, this is completely your call. You don't have to go with them. If you have somebody already who's good, then you go with them. But if not, then I will recommend these guys.
Okay, so that's my last question. The next $1 million question is, how much will they charge for these good performance access?
That you'll have to talk to them. See, they have different packages. If you only take 1 month, they have a certain price. If you take for 3 months, they will give you a discounted price. So you have to talk to them for the price.
Okay. And for the best, let's say the most complete experience, and especially for this course, it will be required to activate all these services as you've written?
No, they are already activated for you in the server. They are already activated for you. And yes, these will be required for our exercises, hands-on exercises. So I have worked with them to make sure everything is properly activated.
So if I send a mail today to them to say, I'm going to do the training first in August, they already know what I meant. I just need to ask them the price, I pay, and I have access, and the full services are already granted for me, right?
Absolutely. They know me very well. I work very closely with them. So if you just say that I'm enrolling in Debanshu's training and make sure the server is ready, they know what needs to be done.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thanks a lot for your
no problem. So during the training, we'll be going through the completely new interface. Like we'll use Eclipse for most of our modeling. We'll use BW4HANA Cockpit for our monitoring and process chain, and also the ADSO manage, right? And then we will also use the query, BW query, and which is also a new Eclipse-based query now. So everything will be latest and the greatest, and it is completely hands-on, guys. I have heard many complaints from previous participants that the previous or the other trainers have not done enough hands-on, but you can be rest assured in this training, you are going to do enough hands-on. But because it is purely hands-on, I expect you to know certain things. So there are prerequisites for this course. What are the prerequisites? Prerequisites number 1, you should have a basic knowledge of BW. If you don't have a basic knowledge of BW, you can still attend this course, but you'll have to do extra hard work to cope up, because this is a fast-paced course. This is I'm not going to explain what is an info cube or a multi-provider, because they have become obsolete. So I'm not going to do that. But I am going to explain from scratch what is an ADSO, what is a composite provider, how you use that, what are the different options. That definitely I'll do. But if you're looking for a concept of previous info providers, I'm not going to do that. So if you have a basic knowledge of BW, it will be really good. If not, then you'll have to slog a little extra. But what I have told is we have a 30-minute session previous to the class and after the class. So there you should ask all your basic doubts and I will answer them. Okay. So those, and the prerequisite number 2 is you should know ABAP OOPS concept. You should know what is a class. You should know what is a method. You should know how they work. I am not going to teach you what is a class and a method. That is the OOPS concept of ABAP. You should know it. If you don't know it, then I would recommend you to do some readings before the class and then come prepared. Of course, the initial class, we will not do that. But as we go in the data sources, we enhance them with BADI and stuff like that. There you will need that concept. Okay.
Hey, Devanshu, I have one question.
Yes.
So just coming back to the BW. So we saw that you mentioned that there are 4 objects right now. Like,
Yes.
so yeah, 2 for data staging and 2 virtual.
Correct.
I just want to understand that we have one logical joining object in BW, which was known as info source. So do we have that concept here in B4HANA?
Beautiful. Very good question. Yes, info sources are very much alive and info sources are used heavily. Okay. So yes, because info source is not an object which either stores data or virtually access the data. That's why I did not mention it, but you are right. Info source is very much there. Absolutely. Absolutely there. Because if you see the architecture, okay, it's that standard content. Let me show you the standard SD flow if I have it anywhere. Standard flow. Okay, I don't have it handy. Okay, let me show you something which is a standard content. So if you go to the, let me go here, material. So I have given for standard content also ODP. Can you see anywhere standard BI standard? Yeah, there you go. Standard content. So if you see the standard content given by SAP, okay, and the one which we will also use, they have very much alive. They have the info source very much there. So this is how the LSA++ looks like, the standard content. Okay, what you have is the staging layer, the integrated data warehousing layer, and the virtual layer. There are only 3 layers in LSA++. If you see here, we have info sources there, very much there. Okay, and info sources are used because it gives the flexibility to do field to info object and then info object to info object, and you can combine multiple sources into an info source and then do a separate transformation from there. So yes, absolutely, info source is very much there.
Okay.
Okay.
And,
so there is a complete topic on which I will tell you that what got obsolete and what is still used. So we will go into that, and then I'll show you that info cube is replaced by ADSO. Your standard ADSO replaced by ADSO. Info source still there. Info object still there. DTP still there. Yeah, so it's there.
So last question.
Yes, tell me.
So like in other versions, like on B4HANA or not B4HANA, sorry, BW on HANA, like 7.2, 7.3. So we have used RSO2 for creating custom data sources. Right? I mean, we had 3 options like text, then attribute and transactions, right?
Yes.
So are they replaced with CDS views now?
Yes, correct. The RSO2 is no more recommended. Okay. The way you will do it is you will just go into your S4HANA system. Okay. And then you will create a new CDS view. And based on that CDS view, you will replicate that CDS view and you'll create a extractor. custom extractor in BW side, not in S4 side. Okay, you will, once you have this, so say for example, this is my package, this is S4. Okay, so in my S4, I will first, what I will do is I will create a CDS view. So these are my CDS views. Say for example, I have for sales header, sales item, I have a CDS view. So let me show you one CDS view which we created in the previous batch. Okay, so this is the first step. What you will do is you will create a CDS view. You will not go to RSO2 anymore to create a custom extractor. So you will create a CDS view. You will put the necessary annotations which is required for delta extraction. Okay, and then once you create your CDS view, you will come to BW4HANA, and then you will expand this data source header. In the data source, you will use ODP ABAP CDS view. You will right click here. This is the source system. So you will go to the source system, ODP S4HANA CDS view. You will create a data source here, not in S4HANA. You will create data source here, and we will use this particular CDS view in that data source. That's the new process. No more RSO2. Of course, RSO2 is there. It has not gone. Okay, but that's no more recommended anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Devanshu, one question here.
Yes, please.
Are you going to cover in XSCA also as in HANA part, native HANA modeling side?
Good question. So XS Advanced is not used. XS Classic is used here. So I'm going to definitely tell you how to use XS Advanced CVs in Composite Provider. There is a particular setting, and if you do that setting, then you can use the HDI container based calculation views, okay, in XS Advanced. But in this case, I'm using the XS Classic calculation views, not the XS Advanced HDI container CVs. The reason is because when you generate something from, like when you generate a calculation view from a ADSO or from a composite provider, they are not created as a 2.0 XS Advanced CVs. They are still created as the XS Classic CVs. And SAP has no plan to generate them in a HANA 2.0. And that's why we will still stick to the XS Classic. But I'm going to show you that what is that setting and how you can make sure that your HANA 2.0 XS Advanced CVs can be used in a composite provider. I'm still working with this vendor, these guys, the Get Trained guys. I'm still working with them in order for XS Advanced to activate. So I'm testing that XS Advanced, but it's not fully tested. Okay. So once it is fully tested, then probably we'll start using XS Advanced, but that has not been fully tested. They just activated maybe a few weeks back, they activated XS Advanced. So I still have to do a lot of testing. And I don't want to start something half-baked. So I will first do the testing, and then later we will switch to XS Advanced in my future batches, not this batch.
So here I heard that HANA 2.0 is recommendable only for XSCA only.
No,
And
that's not true. HANA 2.0 can have both XS Classic and XS Advanced. Both sits side by side in HANA 2.0. XS Classic is activated by default. XS Advanced, if you want to use, you have to activate. There's a separate basis activity. So both can sit side by side. Maybe in future they will obsolete and they will make the XS Classic completely obsolete, but not in HANA 2.0.
Finally, two more questions. So one is, are we going to cover any native data DSOs like NDSOs are there? How to handle those NDSOs in HANA side?
Again,
second,
NDSOs are 2.0 concept, not 1.0, right?
Yep.
So as I told you that NDSOs, which gives you delta capability, will be HANA 2.0. So no, they are not covered. See, please understand the primary purpose of this training. This primary purpose of this training is not to train you in HANA XS Advanced or native HANA. This is to train you on BW4HANA. So the required knowledge for a BW consultant is he or she should know how a calculation view is created, how database procedure is created, how table function is created, how an XS job is created, how you schedule those DB procedures. This knowledge definitely you will have. So a BW consultant should be aware of native side, and all the necessary ones I'm going to cover, not the advanced functions like your NDSO and your other 2.0 related features, because that's not the focus here. The focus is BW4HANA.
Okay, last question.
Yes.
Here it is a data warehouse in cloud. So is there any introduction part, like data warehouse in cloud, on cloud? You mentioned there in the last, like a previous slide, it's a DWH in now.
Yeah, so there is an introduction of SAC. So SAP Analytics Cloud integration with BW4HANA. What are the steps? What is the configuration you have to do first with for course? That is covered. SAC, how to create a model on a live connection, that is covered. How to create a story on SAC on the BW4HANA queries, which we create, that is covered, but not data warehouse cloud. Data warehouse cloud is not covered. If you just need an introduction to data warehouse cloud, yes, I can definitely do that, but I don't have a data warehouse cloud system to show you how you do modeling on that. That is a completely different topic, but SAC and BW4 integration is covered. Okay guys, so it's 8:22. Any other questions? We'll just take a couple of more questions and then we will end the session.
Yeah, Devanshu, actually just one question. Like
Yes.
we are covering CDS views. So what I understand, in future SAP will use only CDS views. So what is the impact on calculation views? Those like, will they become obsolete, calculation views, and CDS views will completely replace the functionality of calculation views?
Yeah, good question. You're right. CDS views is going to replace calculation views completely. They have already done that. No more HANA Live is used. Now only CDS view based embedded analytics is used. And embedded analytics is nothing but a list of or a bunch of CDS views which is used for reporting within S4. That's what is embedded analytics. So calculation views will gradually become obsolete. But you have to understand there are two flavors of CDS views. First flavor is HANA CDS views. The second flavor is ABAP CDS views. Okay. When I'm talking about S4 HANA, I'm talking about ABAP CDS views. If you don't have SAP source systems, or if you don't have BW, you just have native HANA, just the database, and you're doing modeling inside that. There, the calculation view is not obsolete. There, the calculation view is still there, but you also have an option of HANA CDS views. Okay, not using ABAP at all. There is no ABAP stack. So in that case, you have a choice. Either you can use HANA CDS views or you can use calculation views. And calculation views are still very much active and intact in those scenarios. But when you talk about S4 HANA or ABAP layer, ABAP server is there. Their calculation view is no more recommended, and ABAP CDS views have replaced the calculation views. So don't think that calculation views are completely gone. It depends on what scenario you have. If you have pure native HANA, calculation views are still alive. If you have ABAP server like your S4 or BW4, then don't use calculation views, go for CDS views, ABAP CDS views. Okay. All right.
Yeah, Devanshu. Also on the payment front, actually I'm based out of India. So do you have any account like which I can pay? I can
Yeah, that's a good question. So
yeah, even me also.
Yeah, so this is the payment structure and the payment options. So I have a live training which is starting on 1st of August. Okay, so for live training you will have 225 US dollars, which you'll have to pay by 30th of this month. That's the last date for registration, which will include live training plus your recording plus your material plus your Q&A recording. Remember, I told you 30 minutes before the class and 30 minutes after the class. They are separately recorded. They will not be a part of the main class recording. They are separately recorded, and if you need them as well, because many people are not interested, they say that no, I don't want Q&A, I just want the main class. That's why I've kept it separate. But 225 will include everything. But if you don't want the Q&A, you just want the main class recording and the material, then it is 200. And if you don't need even the material, you just need the recordings, then it is 175. So I have three options, and the channels you can use to pay is PayPal. You can use PayPal. So if you don't have a PayPal account, you can create a PayPal account anywhere in the world, including India, and you attach your bank account or credit card or debit card, whatever you have, with the PayPal, and then you can pay to anyone across the globe. So you can pay me with your Indian channel, Indian bank account also. The second channel is a direct deposit. So I have given my account number and the other details which you will need while you add my account. So you can do a direct deposit as well. Okay. So people who don't have time for live sessions, or people who are based out of Australia, for whom the timing is odd, they cannot attend that, then they will, they also have the option of recording. Okay. And this is how you will see the recording. Let me show you the previous batch. So in the previous batch, I created this YouTube channel. Okay. So this is a YouTube channel, BW4HANA training, and we had 15 sessions there. So every session, like 2 hours long, right? So we have the recordings available. You can access the recording. These are private videos. These are not public videos. So I'll have to explicitly give you access. So once I explicitly give you access, then you'll be able to see that. And you will see there are pre-recorded sessions for post-session question and answer, pre-session question and answer. Some of them have gone beyond 30 minutes. Of course, some of them are below 30 minutes, but I try to answer each and every question. So you will have this kind of playlist. So this playlist will be shared to you, and you will see the class recordings and the question and answer recording. If you have paid completely, but you have only paid for the class recording, you will only see the class recording. Okay, this is how it is.
Okay, just a last question for my side.
Yes.
When we spoke about the business, the customer scenario, where we will start off when we start the course, yes, will we see a complete end-to-end business case where we go for S4HANA, we see the T codes, we see as a high-level view what is our business logic from S4HANA with a transactional business rationale, let's say, oriented. And then we, of course, we do and we build our data model in BW4HANA with the technical activities as usual, but at least we know exactly what we are building, and we have a clear view from a S4 what is the business added value that we are deriving to our BW4HANA.
Yes. See, that's the differentiator between my training and other trainings. I don't give you just the random concept how a composite provider works, how an ADSO works. We will start with a business scenario. Let me show you what we did with the previous batch. Okay. With previous batch, we have a folder called scenario, reports, and data source field. There we have Excel files. I'll give you Excel sheets. And in that Excel sheets, we are going to start with the customer requirement. So this is the customer requirement. They need two reports. One is for the sales order quantity details and order details, and one is just the header details, number of orders, how many number of orders, what are the slice and dice, what variables we'll have to create, etc. So we'll start from there. Then we will go to the data source. I will tell you what enhancement you need to do. So you will have to enhance the data source using BADI. Okay. Then the info source field,
this is on the SD module. This is on sales and distribution.
Yes.
Data module, the standard that we will address, right?
Correct. Standard plus you will address this custom CDS view also. So what we'll do is this particular report, which is the item, sales item, is not standard. It is coming from a custom CDS view. This guy, the header, is coming from standard 2LIS11 VHDR. So it's going to be a combination. One will be standard and one will be custom CDS views. Both you will have to enhance. This will be enhanced by BADI. This will be enhanced by extension CDS views. So we'll do that. And we'll start from there, and only taking this business scenario, we will do end-to-end modeling, ADSOs, composite provider, everything will be connected to this business scenario. And finally in SAC, you will see both of them ended as a story.
Okay, perfect. So finally, in front end on the SAC, will we just quickly discuss the advantages of building the SAC story on the top of the BEX BW query, or are we building directly on the top of the CDS view, and we compare the performance, or we don't need to do that?
No, we do the SAC on BW query. We are not doing SAC directly on CDS views. Okay, we can also do that, the CDS view which we create in S4 side, you can access them in SSC also. If you want, I can show that as well, because that needs a separate connection. You cannot use the BW live connection to access CDS views. Okay. If you want to access calculation views or CDS views, you have to create a HANA connection. There are two connection types when you create a connection in SSC. One is BW live and one is HANA live. So if you want to access the HANA live, we'll have to create a separate connection. But the connection which I show you is primarily the BW live connection, where you will access the BW query created in Eclipse based on composite provider. But we can also access the CDS views and calculation views, and I can show you both.
And from your experience, do we have any performance gains if we do it directly on the BEX or directly on the CDS view?
From my experience, it's based on the CDS view or the query. Okay, if it's a simple CDS view and you are comparing it with a complex BW query, of course, the simple CDS view will have better performance. So there is not a silver bullet answer that yes or no. It always depends on how complex your CDS view coding is or how complex your BEX query is. If both are complex, then BEX query performs a slightly better, what I have seen, compared to CDS views.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Devanshu, one quick question. Anything like related to migration topics are you going to cover in this course curriculum?
Yes, I will definitely try to. But as I said, those are miscellaneous and advanced topics. Okay, but I will try to cover them if time permits. So if you see my course structure, okay, I have everything here. So day wise, you can see what I'm covering. So that I have given. Plus at the end, okay, 13th session, which will mark the end of the session, we will cover inventory, we will cover streaming processing, and if time permits, I will cover the migration scenarios as well, meaning your in-place migration versus your shell conversion versus your remote conversion. So we'll try to cover them and see what is the process and what are the issues you will face during migration. So I'll try to cover that. But don't expect me to go very detailed for migration, because migration itself is a completely new world and new topic. Okay, but I will definitely try to give you the introduction to migration scenarios. Okay. All right, guys. So I think it's 8:33. We are way over time. Thank you so much for attending the session. The recording will be available on YouTube as a public recording, so you can access that. And I hope to see you on the 1st of August. Please complete the registration before 30th of this month so that we can meet in the class. Thank you very much, and you have a great rest of the day. Take care.